Welcome back to the Psychological Paradigm Shift podcast. I hope you found the last episode informational and helpful. I'm Ed Rieger, the host, and people have told me to explain as part of the introduction that I'm the creator of the Psychological Paradigm Shift movement. And you can find the entire layout of the movement on the website, psychologicalparadigmshift.com. And you'll learn what the mission of the movement is, the books that have been written, the laws that I'm starting to introduce, and the podcast episodes that we tape. And you'll be able to follow in the future my political activities when we launch. Always remember, I am only providing my personal opinions based on my experiences and education on psychological topics. We will be talking about mental illness in a very blunt, transparent manner. The topics may be disturbing to some, and it will never be my intent to hurt anyone, only to share my thoughts and ideas. Tonight we're going to cover school activities, the questions you may want to ask a potential partner, especially when it comes to parents, grandparents, extended family. It's been my experience that the mentally ill are not interested in their child's school activities whatsoever. None of my grandparents ever attended one of my school activities. In music, sports, track, field, baseball, nothing. Since I never met any of my grandparents, of course, that was understandable. But mentally ill parents and grandparents are so consumed with their own psychological issues, they have no time. They have no desire or motivation of any kind to be involved with their children's activities. When you talk with school officials, counselors, and administrators, they all agree that lack of parental participation is a huge problem in America. Recently, the legislator in Utah passed a law to mandate that trade school certifications become a priority for high school students who will not be going to college. The reason they did this is they've accepted the reality that a large percentage of students can't or won't read. This is a direct impact of parents from a very early age of their child not being present and having the psychological ability to devote time to their child when young to guarantee they can read. Not being involved in a child's scholastic activities should really be categorized as child abuse based on neglect. I never realized until I was much older how my parents' lack of participation and concern had damaged me so greatly. To this day, I live with the effects of that neglect in my personal, social, and economic life. When a parent is suffering from mental illness, they cannot and will not take the time or have the concern about that child's needs. And when a parent is poor and possibly a single parent, it multiplies that damage done to that child dramatically. When a parent or grandparent show no interest in a child's scholastic activities, then how can the education system and society expect that child to care? Mental illness steals so much from children, parents, grandparents, and society that we may never be able to measure it completely. And that's why this is one of those reasons why mental illness is really generational. And if we start now looking at mental illness differently, then maybe we can save the next generation. And when you go to my website and you look at the first law I've introduced, you'll see exactly why I did it, why I created it, and what the future of that law may bring children to be able to move past their parents and grandparents and other family members' inability to be concerned and get past their own psychological issues. So go to the website, look at the first law, Psychological Education Act, and you'll see as we go forward through this episode why I created that law in particular. So, all right, let's get started with the questions that you'll definitely want to ask your potential partner in the future when it comes to their history with their parents, grandparents, other family members, and school activities and so forth. So first question is, what kind of school activities did you participate in? What you're looking for is no participation or little participation. And then, did you participate throughout your school time, or did you stop at any time? You're looking for gaps in participation. Remember, no one in the world cared if they participated or not. And many times, because of the chaos at home, they may have been uprooted many times or displaced altogether, like being homeless. So school activities are never on your radar when you're homeless. Did your parents, grandparents, or siblings ever participate in your school activities? You will see limited participation, if any at all. How often did they attend? Whenever you qualified for an activity, did your parents ever refuse to pay the cost of that participation? Especially if they could afford it. The many, many psychological reasons parents would refuse to pay for their child's activities may be unknown and may be limitless. Could the parent not afford it? Were they jealous of their child's achievements? Were they drunk or using drugs or just didn't want to be bothered? Did your parents support your educational goals for a higher education? My mother became extremely concerned about a month before I graduated from high school, and she was definitely ready to get me out of the house. And her solution was to sign me into the military at 17 years old. Did your grandparents and siblings support your goals? The answer here will probably be very limited, if non-existent. If your grandparents passed away while you were in school, did they leave any funds for your educational efforts? Currently, in my day job, I work with families and help them with estate planning and other financial needs. And I can count on one hand the number of grandparents that have left funds behind for their ongoing education of their grandchildren directly. While your grandparents were alive, did they provide any financial support for your higher educational efforts, especially if they could afford it? Did your parents help you plan and implement your goals and objectives for a higher education, or were you left to figure it out on your own? What level of education do you have? Are you a dropout, high school degree, technical school, a certification of some kind, some college, full college, university degree, PhD? This can really speak volumes right here as to families not supporting each other for long-term educational goals. It's expensive, it's time-consuming, and parents have to participate quite a bit with children throughout their college endeavors. So this can be a very important question to really think about when you're asking romantic partners these kind of questions. Do you still associate with your high school friends or college friends? I do not know where any of my friends from high school are, and haven't spoken to them in over 40 years. How often do you associate with them, and what kind of activities do you participate with them in? You'll see with psychological illness in folks, they have a really hard time keeping long-term relationships, especially from school, high school, college timelines. They disconnect with people completely. Okay, you can see by these kind of questions that the mentally ill are so disconnected from the experiences, needs, and activities of their children during their school years. Children of the mentally ill know they cannot count on their parents, grandparents, siblings, or extended family to support their scholastic activities. Children of the mentally ill are neglected and abandoned emotionally, financially, and psychologically from their loved ones. And school activities is a very clear sign, as you will know how much damage was done to them by the very people who would have claimed so much love and support for them. This kind of damage will most likely affect the way they will view their potential role in a child they have. So that means this damage may affect you and the child that you would share with them. So these questions are definitely something you should put on your red flag notice if you even think about trying to have children with folks who have psychological issues. Okay, we're going to stop here. I want to thank you for sharing time with me tonight. I hope the information was helpful. And remember, you can go to the website, psychologicalparadigmshift.com. I'll post all my updates when I have them, and you can sign up to receive future information. I look forward to next week's episode with you. It's going to be a tough episode. It's going to be on suicide attempts. Take care of yourself.